Welcome to PRV Iyer Laya Academy of Music and Mathematics. Welcome to PRV Iyer Laya Academy of Music and Mathematics. Let's begin this class with Tirukkural, which is on the topic called detachment. ஒழுக்கத்து நீத்தார் பெருமை விழுப்பத்து வேண்டும் படுவல் துணிவு. ஒழுக்கத்தில் நினையாக நின்று பற்று விட்டவரின் பெருமையை சிறந்ததாக போற்றி கூறுவதே நூல்களின் முடிவாகும். One who is steadfast on his discipline and who is also detached is spoken very highly on books, on religious books. He is quoted everywhere. He is being praised all over. That's what Tiruvallur says. So one needs to have a lot of discipline, self-esteem, and should be very detached from the external, from the material world, and try to be more contented. That's inherent meaning in it. So with this noble thought, let's get into our class. Last class we saw 8 different phrases which are unique by itself, and we multiplied that to another 8 by replacing takatari kittataka with namta kittataka, and we played 16 sequences. I'm going to extend those 16 sequences into a little more complex and making it a little larger phrase. Dhim kita kita, dhim kita kita, kita kita. That's the first part. Dhim kita kita, dhimita katari kita taka. This you've already learnt. So, the first part is a combination of a 3, 3 and a 2, or you can also say 6, 6 and a 4. However you add, it's 16 or 8, it's a multiple of 4. So you're going to add a phrase which is a combination of 3, 3, 2 as the first part. The second part is a constant part which is 4, 4, 4, 4. Dim, kita, kita, dimi, taka, tari, kita, taka. That's a constant. 4, 4, 4, 4. The first part is a little trickier and twist. Dim, kita, kita. Dim, kita, kita. Kita, kita. How you're going to play? Dim, thanam, taki. Again repeat. Dim, thanam, taki. The third part is thanam, taki. When you play together, it's 3, 3 and a 2, or a 6, 6 and a 4, depending on the speed you say. That's how it's combined. That's the higher speed. The second is a known lesson of the last week's sequences, last class sequence. Dim kita kita dimi taka tari kita taka. That's the phrase. Now, when you combine both the first part and the second part, it becomes a very big phrase. Not that again and repeat, you don't have to get to the speed right away. Understand it first. So that is the first lesson. So how you can, in the similar way, you have to think about extending all in the similar fashion. How can you logically do? Because dimikita, that dimikita is a different phrase, dimikita is a different phrase. When you want to make this dimikita into a 3-3-2 or a 6-6-4 combination, this is how you should do. Dimikita kita, dimikita kita, kita kita. Taki thanam taki, taki thanam taki, thanam taki. Now, the similar form of the second lesson, what you learned in the last class, you are extending the first part in a similar way in a combination of 3, 3 and 2. That is your lesson already, you are aware of it. So again, one important note I want to mention here. If you are not practiced the previous class and you're coming for the new class, you will find it difficult. That is a very clear understatement I want to mention here. Be prepared whenever you come from a new class, only then you can pick it up from there. So that it's easier, it will be easier for you to understand. It's good for me and it's good for you. Otherwise, I need to spend more time on the previous class as well. So with that note, let's move on. So how you have to play the second phrase? Dhimi thanam taki, taki thanam taki, thanam taki. First part. Taki thanam taki taki, tatari taki tataka is the second part. Now, as I told you, these two larger phrases, you should think like a friend. Dhim kita kita, dhim kita kita, kita kita, dhim kita kita, dhimi taka tari kita taka, dhimi kita kita, dhimi kita kita, dhimi kita, dhimi kita kita, dhimi taka tari kita taka. When you play like that, it will sound wonderful. Like that you should get. So these two phrases again will become 4 phrases, just replacing takatari kitataka with namtha kita kitataka. With that model, we are going to do for all the rest of the 6 other sequences. Let's see how it goes. Tak kita kita, tak kita kita, kita kita, tak kita kita, devi takatari kita. Because your sequence is tak kita kita, devi takatari kitataka, you have to use the tak kita phrase and try to build a pattern using the tak kita. Tak kita kita, tak kita kita, kita kita. Now you are becoming creative, trying to simulate from a pattern a related pattern. That's the beauty of it. That is how you are generating a new pattern, which is a 6-6-4 or a 3-3-2. Then the second part is the same. Combined effort. Now we have completed 3, the 4. Tharidena kita dimi taka thari kita taka. Tharidena kita dimi. Kita kinam taki taki, tathari takita taka. Tharidena, how we can do? Tharidena kita. Tharidena kita. Dhina kita. Thanam taki. Kita kinam taki. Kita kinam taki. Thanam taki will be the positional phrase. You can either play thanam taki or kita kinam. That is again your creativity. You are putting a filler of a 4, which can be thanam taki, a constant phrase, or a logical phrase of that pattern. You can also use that. There is no deviation, there's nothing wrong. There's no hard and fast rule that I am playing a 4, thanam taki, I have to do only thanam taki. Not like that. Any 4, I've told you, any 4 syllable, I introduced you a puzzle game, anything will fit. Anything will fit into the phrase. Your hand should be comfortable to play. That's important. You don't take a phrase where you find it so complex to play after that logically when you play. Meaning, when your finger is stuck in one place, when you have to, it should be easier for you to use your next finger comfortably. For example, guitar, when you are playing, you can't, because your guitar, your index finger is firmly rooted, don't try to start with the same finger phrase as a next phrase. It will be difficult for you. So that's initially you should get to know what type of easier phrases which can logically come one after the other. So, kitta keenam taki, thanam taki, kitta keenam taki, thaka thari, kitta taka. That's how you should play. That is one form. Or kitta keenam. That itself also you can play. Okay, whichever comes to you, you can play. The second part is just the same. Now together when you play, that is one form. That is the second form. Now when you play, tak kita kita tak kita 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 tak kita kita demi tak tari kita tak tari dana kita tari dana kita tari dana kita tak tari kita tak. That will be wonderful. Like that, you have to play these two lessons. You know, another two lessons is substitution of takatari kita taka with namta kita kita taka. So you are now done with 4 big lessons. Let's look at the second half. Thalanam taki, thanam taki. That is one way of building the 3-3-2 form. You can also play thalanam. Thalanam taki, thanam taki. Tha chapunam taki. Tha chapunam thaki, thanam thaki. That's one combination. Or thalanam tha chapunam thaki. First part, that's the 6. Thalanam thaki, thalanam thaki, thalanam. That also you can play. Both are valid. Both the forms are perfect. But it will be good if you play thalanam, the similar pattern, instead of thanam taki, so that it sounds beautifully. This is a vanilla form. There is nothing wrong in it. If you play like this, it's perfect. But this sounds beautiful. Because there are too many choppers which is reverberating, it sounds beautiful. So we saw now thalanam taki, thalanam taki, thalanam taki, taki, tata, taki, taka. That's how you structure or you develop a phrase into a bigger one. Let's get into the next phrase, which is the 6th. Taka thalong, taka thalong, taka thalong, dadimi, taka tarikita, taka. How we are getting takatalong, because the phrase is takatalan, tadimi, takatari, kitataka is the vanilla phrase what you learned last class. From there I am trying to build a takatalong. That base I am using to build the 3-3-2 or 6-6-4 combination. Takatalon ki, talan ki. Taka is 2, talong is 4. Taka is 2, talang is 4. Again, talang is 4. Taka talan ki 2 plus 4. Taka talan ki 2 plus 4. Talan ki 4. So 6 plus 6 plus 4 is 16. When you play that part 16 and then the same phrase which is 4 equal intervals, in this case it is 5 and a 3. Taka talan ki taki. We had a trickier combination. Taka, it is 5, 3, 4, 4. So this phrase is unique, because it has a 6 plus 4 is the first combination. The second combination is 5 plus 3, again an 8. The next combination is 4 plus 4, which is again an 8. So there are a variety of 8s in a different combination. Now you are seeing the beauty of rhythm when it gets broken into different 6 and a 6 and a 4, or a 5 and a 3, and a 4 and a 4, how beautifully it evolves. That is the full phrase. Dumki thalon ki, dumki thalon ki, thalon ki. That is the first part. Second part is the known lesson. That's how it is. So now you learned the 5 and 6 is talan nam taki talan nam taki talan nam talan nam taki taki takata rikita takata long takata long takata long tadi mitakata rikita taka. When you say itself, it's so beautiful. When you play with the same effect, it should sound exactly as you express. Like that it should reverberate. So now we learned the two different beautiful resonant phrase. Replaced with namta kita kita taka, you get additional 2 lessons for your kitty to practice. The last in the sequence, dhumdum kinam taki, dhumdum kinam taki, dhumdum kinam taki, taki ta ta ri taki ta taka. Last phrase we saw dhumdum nam nam. You can play this dhumdum nam nam in multiple forms. You can also play dum-dum keenam, because it's a combination of your inside and outer ring. So to get that familiarity, or you can play only in the outer ring, which is nam-nam. Either way is fine, but do with dum-dum keenam, so you're positionally, you're going into the black surface, playing the key, and you're also playing the nam. Adaptability gets more familiar for you. So I would rather prefer dhum-dhum keenam taki, thanam taki, dhum-dhum keenam taki, tathari taki. I would prefer you play like that. This is the lesson. How it's broken, I'm going to go one by one. Dhum-dhum keenam taki. Again. Dum-dum keenam taki. Next part, dum-dum keenam. It's a logical build-up. So this is the first part. So which is a 6 plus 6 plus 4 combination. Then the next one is the old lesson, dum-dum keenam taki taki tatharita kitataka. So when you play together, the combined last phrase is takita dheem. Takita dheem tadimita katari kitataka is the phrase. Now we are going to takita dheem. You are building into a 3-3-2 or a 6-6-4 combination, which is takita dheem ta, thom dheem. You have to play like this. Nam tha ki dheem ki, nam tha ki dheem ki, nam dheem. How it is 6 now? Nam tha ki is 3. Nam tha ki dheem ki. So the second dheem is inherent. Dheem ki. So nam tha ki dheem ki, nam tha ki dheem ki. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, which is 12. nam, dheem, nam, dheem. So it is 2 plus 2, 4. So it's inherent. When you are playing namdim, you cannot play. Namta ki dimki, you cannot play. Namta ki dheem ki, namta ki dheem ki, nam, dheem. So all like a Veda, there is an inherent sound within this nam and dhim and dheem, ki and all. You have to understand and play correctly this 16. Even the second phrase is a little trickier here. Takitta dihim ki, takitta dihim tadimi. Takitta is 3, dihim is 2, tadimi is 3. So here the combination is 3, 2 and a 3. In the second 2, one word is silent. You have to understand so many things when you are playing these lessons. So takitta dim ki, takitta dim ki, tat dim, takitta dim, tadimi, takata, rikita, taka. So much of science into it, but when you play faster, it looks beautiful, rhythmic, sarvalagu, but actually it's intertwined with lot of intricacies of mathematics. Brilliant, right? Isn't it? So the last two, when you put it together, so these two, when it becomes again with the replacement of takata rikitataka with namtha kitakitaka, it becomes another 2 lessons. So you have now learned a pretty much complex sequence, 8 sequences with a combination of takata rikitataka. One, you have to do a homework with namtha kitakitaka to get the familiarity. Once when you get that, you will be almost pretty sure, like takatari ketataka, ketataka, and all your movements or the notations what I taught you will become more familiar. You will be able to navigate with the instrument, you will be getting more closer to the instrument, you will enjoy playing it. It's something like a shuttle bat. When you try first time and when you're giving a shuttlecock, you will not be able to even hit the ball, hit the cock. Or even when you try with the bat and ball, any play, any game for that matter, like carom board, you may not be able to hit the coin into the pocket. But something very similar here. Typewriting, very difficult for you because your little finger will pain when you have to type the keyboard. So all comes by practice. Now we have introduced so many syllables, the positions, the lessons underlying that, the silence underlying that, the mathematics underlying that, the structure into which you have to put into it should give you a very strong foundation if you follow each of my class systemically. Assuming you have not done, I would recommend you to go all over again for a grand revision of what I taught, which I am going to do next class for the benefit of all the students, to ensure that they get the basics right. So my next class would be a wound-up class, which should be ideally taking from the beginning of all your lessons, from Dhati Domnam, how notation, I'm going to notate it for you. I'm going to talk about how Mridangam is made of to get you fairly good idea of, because you're learning the instrument, you should know more about the instrument and the science behind it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to revise the basics end to end, and we will produce you the booklet which is called Bala Paadams, or the basic lessons, and get benefited out of this. The biggest advantage what I see in this PRV Iyer Laya Academy of Music and Mathematics, you can go n number of times iteratively, learn on your own pace, don't have to compete There's no need for anybody, everybody. Music is a passionate subject, and it's not a competition. It's not like any other field where I need to surpass him. You need to excel yourself. That should be your target. And if you have that goal, every time when you play, next time when you're playing better, I want you on that sort of a goal setting with each one of you. You excel every day, learn new things every day, and grow up in life. With that, I'm going to sign off this class with a beautiful Tirukkural, and then we will meet you in the next class of the Grand Revision. துறந்தார் பெருமை துணைக்கூறின் வையத்து இறந்தாரை எண்ணிக் கொண்டாற்று. We are talking about a detachment topic in Tirukkural, and what does it mean? பற்றுகளை விட்டவரின் பெருமையை அளந்து சொல்வது என்பது உலகில் இதுவரை பிறந்து இறந்தவர்களை எண்ணி கணக்கெடுப்பது போன்றது. So what does the Tirukkural say? A person who is detached, it is impossible to evaluate his praise. It is as good as taking account of how many people are born or how many people are dead. It is as next to impossible. You can't match a person who is detached by his deeds, who is away from the materialistic pleasures. That's what Tirukkural says. And with this good thought, you've learnt wonderful sequences today, masterly pieces. I've taught you about the sciences, intricacies, how you can be creative of building from a small phrase into a big magnified phrase, which is a pattern, generating a pattern. So that's a creative mode I've taught you today. With that, we'll see you in the next class. Cheers.